right. Welcome, everyone.
Okay, we set?
Yep.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Good morning, New Jersey STIC members and friends. I'm Amanda Gendek of New Jersey STIC's executive team. I'm also the manager of the NJDOT Bureau of Research, which is charged with administering the STIC program of activities. And thank you for joining us today for our fourth and last quarterly meeting of 2021. And I welcome and encourage you all to show your faces and remind you to mute yourselves unless you're speaking. And we'll be monitoring the chat in the event that there are any questions raised along the way. So at this point, I would like to welcome our Assistant Commissioner, Mike Russo, to say a few words.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for bearing with us there. Had a little bit of a technical glitch. Welcome, everybody. As you can see, we're still in the virtual environment. Hopefully that changes sometime soon. Here at DOT, we are all back at work 100% staff-wise. I know many of you are moving in that same direction if you already have not done so, but for now it's still virtual and hopefully that changes quickly. I also hope everybody has managed to stay healthy and safe through this all. And with that, in order to try to pick up a little bit of time here, I'm going to cut my comments short and introduce Helene from FHWA for FHWA updates. Helene?
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the last STIC meeting of 2022. Yay, we managed 2021. Look, I'm a year ahead. We managed to get through 2021. That's great. So I'm going to give you some updates about some things that have happened in the past 3 months. Amanda, can you go forward a slide? So these are things, the TOPS are Targeted Overlay Pavement Solutions Initiative of EDC 6. We have been very active in that area. I know I probably told you this, but now I'm reminding you that New Jersey is a lead state in the asphalt section of TOPS. There's an asphalt section and a concrete section, and we're a leader in the asphalt solutions area. A couple of things we did, we visited with the County Engineers Fall Forum, a virtual forum on October 15th. We had Tim Aschenbrenner of the Federal Highway Administration give sort of a national perspective about TOPS, and Nusrat Morshed from the DOT gave some New Jersey specifics, some case studies and examples, and really good New Jersey specific information for the county engineers. We also had a TOPS working group. We have a little working group that we have going. Fed, state, county, municipal engineers. We recently added Kevin Monaco from Napa. And we had a very productive meeting on October 7th. Lots of input from Monmouth County, lots of input from Princeton. Our next meeting is scheduled for January 20th. So anybody on that TOPS working group, make sure that's on your calendar. It should be. The next thing is the Let's Go workshop. We had a really, really good virtual workshop at the end of September, September 21st and September 28th. New Jersey was the pilot state, the first state to host this workshop. It's eventually going to be an NHI workshop, and we were the first state to host it. So once again, a first for New Jersey. We did 2 initiatives, strategic workforce development and digital project delivery. What the teams did was, first of all, they got to know each other, their strengths and opportunities, and if they were missing any critical members on the team and who had to be pulled in. They set objectives and goals and measures for their initiatives, and they started mapping out a path forward, a plan for moving forward with the initiatives, which really is what Everyday Counts is all about, is moving these proven initiatives forward. I hope you will hear more from the CIA leads. That's Bob, Signora, and Zenobia regarding progress with these initiatives since the workshop in September. The next national STIC meeting is virtual. It's been virtual for years, basically, because it involves the entire US. Will be in the spring. Usually it's around April. New Jersey will be a featured state. Possible topics for New Jersey to discuss are the new communications plan. It's a very, very detailed. If you haven't seen it, go to the NJ Tech Transfer site and please look at it. It's a very detailed, well thought out plan that's not only useful for the STIC, it's useful for communications in general. How we did the virtual interactive STIC meetings early on, or possibly other topics. If you guys have any suggestions for what we might want to highlight in that national forum, please let Amanda know so we can consider other things. Next slide. This is a reminder. I sent you guys an email, CIA leads, NJDOT and Federal Highway. The next EDC 6 progress report, which would be number 2, is due at the end of January. And also you guys have a few ongoing STIC incentive funding projects that I need an update on. I let you know which ones those were. And again, that's due at the end of January. But since December is kind of a sort of downish month work-wise, you have plenty of lead time to get those reports ready. And that's it for me.
This is Tom Barrett. Did you get an email yet?
Somebody's.
Okay. Hang on 1 second. There we go. Okay, thanks, Helene. Next, we'll be hearing from our core innovation area leads, and I'll be sharing the screens for everybody. So whoever is speaking, just tell me next, and I'll advance your slides for you. Okay, so first up, we have the Safety CIA team with Dan Lasanti and Keith Skilton. Dan or Keith?
Yep, how is everybody?
Hi, Dan.
Thanks, Amanda. So to get this going, I'm going to go over this slide, then I'll hand it over to Keith. So with the proven safety countermeasures and our effort from EDC 5, our initiatives from that round, if everybody remembers, included reducing rural roadway departures and safe transportation for every pedestrian. Under both of those initiatives, one of our focus areas was to promote inclusion of the FHWA proven safety countermeasures into projects beyond HSIP projects. Keith had hinted and indicated in previous STIC meetings that the new proven safety countermeasures will be added by the FHWA soon. Well, that occurred in November with 9 new countermeasures added. I'll put a link in the chat room after this presentation. As some background, FHWA updated the proven safety countermeasures in 2012, 2017, and 2021, reaching a current total of 28. The cumulative list is diverse and broad, and practitioners can implement proven safety countermeasures to successfully address a variety of crash types and focus areas like speed management, roadway departure, intersection, pedestrian, and bicycle crashes to save lives and prevent serious injuries, while others are cross-cutting strategies that address multiple safety focus areas. So the next few slides, Keith's going to go, he's going to give a highlight of all the proven safety countermeasures, but he's going to note the new ones and pay more attention to those. So I'm going to hand this over to Keith. You want to go to the next slide, Amanda? Thank you.
Thank you, Dan, and good morning, everyone. So we broke these out into different areas, and the first one is speed management, and it's consistent with the safe system approach, and FHWA added 3 new countermeasures to address that traveling too fast for conditions or exceeding the posted speed limit is a factor in 26% of all fatalities, where over 35% of the speeding related fatalities occur on lower speed collector and local roads. So it's not just an interstate challenge. Speeding is a complex issue involving engineering, driver behavior, education, and enforcement. And these new proven safety countermeasures touch on each of the 4 E's. Next slide. So FHWA defines a roadway departure crash as a crash which occurs after a vehicle crosses an edge line or a center line or otherwise leaves the traveled way. And these type of crashes can be referred to as lane departures. On average, about 51% of all traffic fatalities in the US are roadway departures. The new proven safety countermeasure includes wider edge lines. Edge lines are considered wider when the marking width is increased from the minimum normal width of 4 inches to a maximum normal line width of 6 inches. Next slide. So for intersections, although no proven safety countermeasures were added, we want to note that there are fact sheets that go along with all these proven safety countermeasures, and they've been updated. So Federal Highway continues to maintain current information for each of the proven safety countermeasures. And later in the presentation, I'll provide a link to the fact sheets. Next slide,
Dan
please.
did that.
This will be a different link,
Oh, okay.
but thank you. So as you can see on the slide, here's the new proven safety countermeasures for pedestrian and bicyclist crashes. It's very encouraging to say that we're pretty much already considering or implementing these countermeasures as a result of a strong complete streets approach to infrastructure improvements in New Jersey. But with that said, these countermeasures work best when applied systemically and within other projects. As an example, just adding high visibility crosswalks, meaning like thermoplastic or a retroreflective material, to a resurfacing project could reduce pedestrian injury crashes up to 40%, but that same project could be more effective if signage and lighting is added as well. The RRFBs is another example that could be added to a trail project where it's particularly effective at multi-lane crossings with speed limits less than 40 miles per hour. Next slide. So cross-cutting strategies are ones that address multiple safety focus areas. Just a quick note that high friction surface treatments are now under the pavement friction management proven safety countermeasure. I'd also like to acknowledge agencies can equitably engage with underserved communities to determine where and how new and improved lighting can most benefit the community by considering their priorities, including eliminating crash disparities, connecting the essential neighborhood services, improve active transportation routes, and promoting personal safety. Next slide. So each of these new proven safety countermeasures have fact sheets that detail their safety benefits. And I'd also like to again mention that with the proven safety countermeasure update, all the existing proven safety countermeasure information has been updated on as well. On the slide is the lighting fact sheet as an example. The fact sheets are available on the website, and I will provide that link here after I'm done speaking. Next slide, please. So new to be released in early 22 to assist practitioners with determining the most appropriate proven safety countermeasure for their location of interest, the webpage will now include a filter tool that allows users to obtain a tailored list of potential proven safety countermeasures. Users answer questions regarding area types, functional classification, traffic volumes, issues identified, targeted crash types, and other information to receive a list of the proven safety countermeasures meeting their criteria. The search function is intended to better serve practitioners, including those with limited safety background, when identifying and considering treatments and strategies that can improve safety as part of their program or project. Both FHWA and NJDOT strongly encourage all agencies to consider widespread implementation of the proven safety countermeasures to accelerate the achievement of local, state, and national safety goals. Reaching our goal of 0 deaths and serious injuries requires all of us to take ownership in safety. Together, we consider the safety needs at every stage of the project implementation process, the safety impact of every investment decision, and the appropriate safety countermeasures for every federal aid project. And next, we'll move on to the next presenters.
Okay. Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Up next, please welcome Bob Signora and Nunzio Merla for our Infrastructure Preservation CIA team. And I think Nunzio is going to be presenting.
Thanks, Amanda. Good morning, everyone. I'm Nunzio Merla. I'm a transportation engineer here in FHWA's New Jersey division. Along with my colleague, Bob Signora from NJDOT, we are co-liaisons for the Infrastructure Preservation Core Innovative Area. Yeah. We have 4 innovations we're currently working on, and I'll give an update as we go. This is the right slide. Thank you. So the first one is digital as-builts. Using digital data such as 3D models to build road projects is becoming an industry standard. Sharing the design model and associated digital project data allows agencies and contractors to streamline project delivery and contract admin, and to collaborate on challenges virtually before they get to the field. The digital information is further leveraged when the model is updated and other data is incorporated to reflect the project's as-built condition for things like future maintenance, asset management, and rehab activities. The status since September of 2021, team members attended the Let's Go Innovation Workshop that Helene spoke briefly about. That was on September 21st and 28th. The workshop helped further solidify the direction the team should be taking. Currently, we're in the process of scheduling a meeting with upper management to present the current progress and potential pilot projects for their buy-in. Also, the team is working on compiling the necessary language for digital modeling to include in consultant EOI. In the next few months, we hope to obtain buy-in from upper management for the pilot projects and finalize the language for the digital modeling. Presently, one of the team members is coordinating with a company to present their innovative technique in construction inspection, and this effort is going to have a new NJDOT champion, Bob Marshall. Next slide, please, Amanda. Okay, so the next one is e-ticketing, which improves tracking, exchange, and archiving of material tickets. Since the last quarterly, a 3rd vendor has been contacted to give a presentation, which is currently being scheduled. We hope to select the vendor to be used for e-ticketing in the next quarter. Initially, we were going to wait for the new Astroware project software to be implemented before starting to use e-ticketing, but after discussions with management, we'll begin implementing e-ticketing with the existing software, Site Manager, as soon as we select and procure the vendor. Next one, please. Helene also talked about this next one, TOPS, Targeted Overlay Pavement Solutions. So approximately half of all infrastructure dollars are invested in pavements, and more than half of that goes towards overlays. By enhancing overlay performance, state and local highway agencies can maximize this investment and help ensure safer, longer-lasting roadways for the traveling public. Many of the pavements in the nation's highway system have reached or are approaching the end of their design life. These roadways still carry daily traffic that often far exceeds the initial design criteria. Overlays are now available for both asphalt and concrete pavements that enable agencies to provide long life performance under a wide range of traffic, environmental, and existing pavement conditions. Since last quarter, we have included ultra-high performance thin overlay in a project on Route 42. The team is continuing to develop for fiscal year 23 and 24 preservation projects, which will include additional TOPS treatments. In the next quarter, we're going to evaluate any potential project for the enhanced friction overlay or EFO treatment. Next slide, Amanda. The last one is the ultra high performance concrete, or UHPC, which is a fiber reinforced composite material with mechanically and durability properties that far exceed those of conventional concrete materials. Since the last quarterly, NJDOT has hosted the FHWA EDC6 UHPC workshop on October 20th and 21st. There were 191 attendees, including New Jersey contractors, designers, suppliers, in addition to the state and county engineers. The workshop provided participants with a great understanding of what UHPC is and a suite of solutions that include using UHPC for bridge deck overlays, link slabs, and steel girder end repairs. It also gave participants information on where to obtain the guidance necessary to implement different types of UHPC preservation and repair strategies. The workshop also allowed participants to discuss their UHPC implementation strategy, construction specs, and design details with FHWA EDC6 UHPC team members. In addition, NJDOT provided support to researchers at Rutgers for UHPC testing in the BEAST lab. Currently, we are identifying testing locations for the performance testing on the UHPC overlay pilot projects. The highway occupancy permits were submitted last week in hopes of initiating the testing by the middle of December. In the upcoming quarter, we're going to complete the first stage of performance testing of the UHPC overlay pilot projects to establish a baseline. As of now, and pending funding, the assumed testing occurrences per bridge for the long-term testing program are from 2022 through 2026. Next slide, Amanda, and that is all. Thank you, and any questions? No? Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Next, please welcome Sue Catlett and Ake Pomsavath of our Mobility and Operations CIA team.
Good morning. This is about, okay, sorry. This is about EDC6, the next generation TIM, which is Transportation Incident Management or Traffic Incident Management, how we integrate information to include others in the process of dealing with incidents that we have on the highway. For the project, we are collaborating with the state police, and the state police have their put in their new system, their new CAD system, which is computer-aided dispatch, not what a lot of engineers, civil engineers think of when they think of that. The process is long. They have deployed it. They are working on it. They are fine-tuning it, and we are having conversations with them about how we, the DOT, can get access to the information in their system. What type of information can we get access to? And, you know, many of the things that you have when you're starting a project like this, such as getting an MOA approved and who can have access and all that nice stuff that goes there. So that's kind of where we are right now. We're still waiting for the state police to finish fine-tuning what they have for their operations and find out how we can tap into their information and exchange information with them. And that's the essence of it for now. And my co-lead is Ake, and he's got the next slide.
Thank you, Sue. Good morning. I will provide an update for crowdsourcing for advancing operations. And here in the state, we are learning the different ways to use crowdsourced data. It provides a different use to monitor real-time traffic condition. It may also increase the geographic coverage area beyond the fixed location roadway sensor. The NJDOT will collaborate with Waycare, an information service provider that collects crowdsourced data from weather data, mobile phone apps, and connected vehicle. The pilot project is currently at the development stage. Federal authorization of funds has been approved. The NJDOT is currently coordinating with the state OIT to make sure the new software application with Waycare vendor is consistent and in compliance with the state OIT enterprise system, the data architecture, and cybersecurity requirements. And it's my understanding the NJDOT Mobility Operations Office will meet again with the state OIT this Friday to discuss some of the IT requirements. And this concludes the status update for the mobility and operations.
Okay, thank you, Sue and Ake. Finally, please welcome Zenobia Fields and Brian Goodson of our Organizational Improvement and Support CIA team.
Good morning. So we're going to present our progress. As Helene mentioned, we participated in the Let's Go workshop for strategic workforce development. When we started, we went in saying, well, what are we doing for succession planning efforts? And our mission statement, as Helene mentioned, we developed a mission statement. In this case, it was to create career opportunities for a diverse workforce in terms of disciplines, demographics, and career levels in order to meet the demands of the transportation skills needed for tomorrow. So with that, we also looked at what are the opportunities that we had. We also looked at some of the threats. Then we looked at what were going to be some of the marketing tools to gain buy-in. At the end, we arrived at an action plan where we had milestones and we also had benchmarks that we wanted to track. This is going to go out to be more of an 18-month effort. So during that 18 months, we decided our priority actions were to have outreach to industry associations. So Vicki from our Civil Rights Director, she's going to be leading that effort as it's a part of the engagement, looking at the disadvantaged businesses and making sure that we have equity in our business practices. So she's going to be our point of contact there. We're also looking at how we're developing our goals, measures, timeline, and buy-in over time. So when we say buy-in over time, it's going to be from the staff level, all of our units here at DOT, then going up to senior leadership for buy-in over that course of the 18 months. Making sure that we have regular meetings. So trying to meet pretty much we hope that we're going to be meeting every other month starting in January. We decided to wait for the next calendar year, one, to get past the election, but make sure that we also have time to engage the other units that needed to be involved for some of the follow-up actions. And we're also going to have outreach to our colleges and to the universities. One, to think about some of those emerging careers that are developing, and then getting also support in some of the research. And Amanda and her team are going to help us out with that, as well as HR. So we hope that we'll be able to report back again next quarter, and that we would have convened at least one of our working group meetings on this. So in our next slide, we're going to be talking about our virtual public involvement and what we're doing to establish a peer exchange. So I'll hand it over to Brian for that.
Yeah, thank you, Zenobia. Good morning, everyone. So for VPI, we are in the early development conversations. We're coordinating with the colleagues for the initiative at headquarters to bring in 3 to 5 potential peers. And we're trying to find the peers who are we have been doing a good job engaging with the traditionally underrepresented. And so currently headquarters is looking at potential peers, and the kickoff meeting should follow sometime in February. And that's all we have for update for that portion. Thank you.
Thank you, Zenobia and Brian. So now for our feature presentation, please welcome Kevin Basica, Camden County's engineer, who will be talking to us today about the use of binder-rich intermediate course, or BRIC, on Camden County projects.
Thank you, Amanda. And I'd like to just say hello to everybody. I didn't realize there were so many people on here, but there's quite a few people that I do know. So next slide. I'm going to talk to you today about some of the tops that Camden County has used, basically binder-rich intermediate course and the stone matrix asphalt. There's my contact information if you want to contact me about anything. Camden County is we're a county that has, if you go to the next slide, we have a population of over 500,000 people in 227 square miles. We basically are not as dense as North Jersey, but we're pretty dense because we're across the river from Philadelphia. So next slide. Basically, what we have in Camden County is we have roughly 411 center line miles of road, which depends on, creates what funding we get. When we look at how many lane miles we have about 2,500. We have a lot of concrete roads, we have a lot of composite roads, and we have some asphalt roads. If you go to the next slide, you can see that basically this is our national highway map. Red is national highway and the yellow are county. But everything kind of came out from the top left-hand side of the map, which is where Camden City is. And the growth went along the Delaware River towards Burlington County and then south along the Delaware. Those are our oldest cities. And then everything went down the White Horse Pike. So those roads that were put in before 1950 are basically concrete. And what I like to tell people is my great-grandfather probably dredged the Delaware and created all that rock that is in these pieces of concrete that I'm working with. So after 1950, when we started driving cars and everything got widened, so they left the concrete road in, and sometimes they put in concrete curb and gutter, and sometimes they put in asphalt. Then nobody liked the concrete, so I have quite a few asphalt overlay roads. And down south, if you look at this map where it gets narrow, where you see the red line close to the bottom, those are our southernmost counties, and some of them are in the Pinelands. And a lot of those roads are chip and seal with just 2 inches of asphalt on top, which is not doing very well at all. Next slide. So here's a typical concrete road in Camden County. If you look in the center of that picture, you see that there's the manhole, and there's the older slabs are kind of lighter in color. They're 10 foot wide, and each slab is about 20 to 30 feet long. And then the road was expanded, and in this part of Haddonfield, the expansion is concrete slab shoulders. And if you, I know this picture's a little fuzzy, but the curb is not in good shape. And what's really interesting is some of our concept developments that Collingswood has done, they have pictures from before 1950 when the sidewalks were 12 feet wide. So it used to be a walkable community, and when cars came in, they took those 12-foot sidewalks, took them out, and put in these shoulders. Next slide. So what are we doing with these concrete roadways? I just want to talk to you a little bit before I go into BRIC and SMA. In some places, we are just replacing with full concrete slab replacement. It's very expensive. This, if you guys come off of 295, this is a 561, which there it's called Haddonfield Berlin Road. At the 295 exit, we did full slab replacement. The rest of the road, we did joint repairs 4.5 feet wide with no diamond grinding. So this is one of the alternatives that competes with our TOPS program. Next slide. So here's a typical composite roadway. And as you can see, the regular asphalt that went down, probably it was I-4 a long time ago. We had the current asphalt. It fails at the transverse joint. It fails at the longitudinal joint. And even if it's sawed and sealed, it fails. So on this job in particular, what we did was we cut 4.5 foot wide transverse joint repairs. So we took out that terrible joint that you're looking at across the picture. And then we put back regular 9.5 M64 and sawed and sealed it. It doesn't hold up well. You've got failures adjacent to the saw and seal, and in the future, those transverse joints will fail. And I'm sure all of you here know that because that's why you got rid of saw and seal. So, next slide. So this is the first project I want to talk to you about, which is Westfield Avenue Phase 1. So Westfield was bid in 2017 in Pennsauken. So Pennsauken is just to the northeast of Camden City. Again, most of the major roads are the concrete. So this was a half-a-mile project, and it cost $1.1 million, half a mile. Why is that? Because the drainage in this roadway was completely failing. We were having flooding in front of business owners. The orthodontist building flooded, the real estate office flooded, and basically what we had was water utilities and sewer utilities going through the old storm pipes. This is something that happens when you're in something that's, 100 years old. So what we originally had in the bid was the numbers you see here, just regular milling, concrete slab repairs with doweled in per DOT spec, and then some concrete slab full replacements, saw and seal with 9.5 M64 overlay. Next slide. So we're going along and we're milling and it's summertime. And what do I get? I get a call. We don't have asphalt under this road. We don't have concrete under this shoulder. We got railroad ballast. Like, O-S-H-I-T. Okay, what am I going to do? I can't take that railroad ballast out without doing LSRP, paying to remove it. It's a big deal. The other thing I want you to notice in this picture is in the front of this picture, that square that's lighter color, that's my wonderful utility, my friends at PSNG opening. Now, the other thing I put on here is, if you know, in this job, I have really good curb. It's not crumbling and I have a lot of reveal. So that is a real positive, unlike that curb that we saw in Haddonfield where it's just totally disintegrating. Next slide. The other thing we had on Westfield is old trolley tracks. So that curve that you see going across this picture, those are train trolley tracks. When we used to have a trolley with an electric line that went up and down Westfield, in and out of the city of Camden. The metal was never removed. So this is where, luckily, I had a really good contractor who said, hey, even if you pave over this, it's going to fail. So next slide. What we did was we did a field modification. Didn't take us long, took us a day. We came up with, put in the binder-rich intermediate course, remove all that concrete repair. The concrete's pretty good. Take out the surface quartz slabs and take out the partial depth concrete repair where the corners are failing, and take out the saw and seal. And that resulted in only a 0.14% increase in the contract by taking out all that concrete work and putting in the brick, which I said, go, let's go. We got approval from the administration and we were rocking and rolling. So next slide. This is what, a week, 2 weeks later, we're putting down that binder-rich intermediate course. Again, I had a really good contractor. They were able to get the plant shut down. They had the equipment, and there we were. There's a picture of putting the overlay on top of here. So the public had no idea that we changed the scope. The other thing is, I had a very good construction manager and inspector in the field, so that we were able to do this in 2 weeks without a delay, because this road has a lot of businesses and they had all been notified of you know, the detours and the work that was coming. So next slide. So that was a success. So the next project was Westfield Avenue Phase 2. So here, I basically had it designed with binder-rich intermediate course in mind. And this was the job that we had designed and we put in for NJIB funding. So some of you on this call probably came to that shovel, I don't know, gold shovel opening where we had tractor trailers going by us for the whole time. I see a question. Oh yes, we definitely used an approved mix design. We tested, not a problem. So we have two sections in this 1.5 miles of Westfield Avenue. Basically, we have a downtown area that is closer to the first phase, and then we have a very industrial area where Pennsauken is real close to Route 130 and Route 90 and the Betsy Ross Bridge and getting into Philadelphia. So the design, even before we had NJIB money, was to do the binder-rich intermediate course in the commercial area and do the stone matrix asphalt with the overlay in the industrial area. So you can see the prices that we got there, and out, you know, basically $750,000 was just for that asphalt out of the $2 million. And to your point, when we wrote this spec, we used basically the DOT spec. The only thing that I had changed was to make it so that it was 4.5 mm for the BRIC. So it had a greater flexibility. And I think that was Robert that helped us make sure that we had that for the 1 inch. So it had greater flexibility. I think even when we did that change order, we did the same thing. We called Robert Blake. Next slide. So here we are with a wonderful milling machine. And once you mill these old roads, you can see that you've got a utility trench that goes across the road. You can see the old slabs, 10 foot wide, 30 foot long, and then you can see the asphalt shoulders. Luckily here, we didn't have any ballast and we didn't have any trolley tracks. Next slide. So here we are putting down the BRIC, and all my specs, I require a transfer machine, and the contractors I use have all gotten used to this. Again, when we did the binder-rich intermediate course, this contractor was South State, so they have total knowledge of using this material since they work for DOT. Next slide. So the stone matrix asphalt, we had to do at night. You have so many trucks and this industrial area, there's no way you can stop business to pave. So it was all night work. And even after they did the stone matrix, we had to do some leveling courses just before we put the surface paving on. Next slide. So I think one of the things I've learned, oh, I saw that. Why do I mandate a transfer machine? Because when we switched to 9.5 M64, I don't know, 2012, I was getting asphalt that was not, it was separating. The first road I did with the new material was Nicholson Road, and it was terrible. Even though everybody met the requirements of it not being in the truck too long, around the radii, it separated, and it was a bear to try to get the contractor to come back and fix it, because I don't like infrared. I think infrared is a really bad way to make repairs. So I make them mill it and redo it. So I've found with my larger jobs, if I use a transfer machine, it gets remixed, and then I make sure my inspectors are sending trucks back if they sit too long. So as far as this set of plans for Westfield Avenue Phase 2, one of the things we really went over with our designer, and it was a Tane at the time, they're not working in South Jersey, I know they're working in North Jersey, was to have a good set of plans that really made it clear where the road shoulders changed and where you were putting down the binder rich and then the surface course. That really, that good set of plans, and of course a good spec, a DOT spec really is, I think, crucial to getting a good project. Next. So this again just goes, I use the NJDOT standard. As a county engineer, I really appreciate all the work that the material department does because I can rely on it. I don't have to learn it. The other thing that I think is really important is that all my submittals are reviewed by my designer. And I don't think you can do that at DOT. I think your designer, once a project gets authorized, they have no more work on your project. So I can do it a little bit differently if it's not federally funded. The other thing I do is I always have an inspector at the plant. If it's not, if it's regular asphalt, I make my inspector check the wrap percentage. My inspectors in the field have to be trained. When I ask for my proposals from consultants, they have to document that the inspector has been trained. And then in going back to get these pictures, I've got photographs from my inspectors of the temperature on the tap coat, the readings on the tap coat, the street sweeper cleaning the road. So all those things become almost as important as the piece of paper that you bid. Next slide. So what does it cost and how does it compare? So in 2019, my surface course was $90 a ton. The brick was $150 and the stone matrix was $125. Now, we don't know what we're going to get this year. Most of my prices right now are coming in over my engineer's estimate. But, you know, it's still going to cost you more because you have to shut the plant in order to get this material. Next slide. So one of my detriments or one of my considerations in doing this is the fact that I'm going to have a utility company open this road in the future. Now this is a great picture. I don't know if you can see it, but as you look down the cones, to the right of all those cones, between the cones and the curb, those are old utility openings on Westfield Avenue. And we've changed our permit book so that if a utility does this, one opening after another, they have to mill and pave the lane. And so far we've been getting some pushback, but it's helpful. But in the future, if a water main breaks or you've got a gas leak, they're not going to have binder rich intermediate course or stone matrix. It's just going to be regular asphalt. Next. So this is what I see as the benefits, and maybe I'm preaching to the choir here, but I know that Amanda went and tried to find out the durability of binder rich. 15 plus years standard overlay. Sometimes it gets 10 years, sometimes it gets less, especially when I'm doing composite roads. The other benefit that I really see is the rideability. So because Westfield Avenue and anything else we do in the future with binder rich or stone matrix doesn't have to have that saw and seal. The public doesn't know what we're doing. They don't care what we're doing. But if they don't have that thump, thump, thump in front of their house, and then I don't get the call that my house is going to fall apart because of the road, hey, I think that's like a super benefit. I just think it's wonderful. So next. The other benefit that I really see is the fact that when I have a composite road, the pavement markings, the turning lanes, the lane, the turn only, right turn only, it stays on the asphalt. When I leave a concrete road concrete and I don't put anything on top of it, I've had real trouble with the contractors understanding that they have to prep the concrete, even if it's in the spec, and they put down the thermoplastic, and in 6 months it's peeled right up. So you not only get less visibility because the concrete's white and the markings are white, but it doesn't stick unless it's really well applied. The other thing I think is a little bit harder for us as engineers to put down in black and white, but I find that the administration and the 37 mayors really like it when there isn't any saw cuts in the asphalt. And when we just do concrete roads with repairs, the 4.5 foot wide trench repairs that we did on 561, I get questions like, why didn't you do the whole road? So the benefit of the visual aesthetics, I think, is real important, especially we're trying to make the world a better place and not have people complaining to us all the time. Next. So the other thing that I have done, I didn't show you here, but the composite road versus taking out a concrete road and putting in an asphalt road in Camden County is almost a no-brainer. So we have concrete slabs that are 9 inches thick. If you have to take out a concrete slab and put in the standard county DOT spec, you're removing 5 inches of material. And that material has a high chance of being contaminated. And then you have to have a material handling plan, you have to have an LSRP, you have trucking costs, and God knows if it's really contaminated, you've got a lot of work ahead of you. The other thing in Camden County anyway is we're in the alluvial plain. We have clay soils, fine silty soils, and a high water table. So if you take out a slab and put in an asphalt road and you're anywhere near a low point in the road, that road's gonna, that sub base you put in is gonna pump. 6 inches of DGA is not gonna do it. You're gonna end up doing a change order and putting in 12 inches or 18 inches of DGA. And the other trick here is you don't even have to be in a low point. You could have perch water on top of a clay lens and it's not going away. That perched water is going to keep coming towards you. Whereas if you have a concrete slab and you leave it in, it's already, you're not disturbing the world. You're not opening Pandora's box. The problem I've had where I take out a concrete road and I put in a full asphalt 14 inches, I get asphalt heave. I get this bump because even though that concrete has overlay, there's a difference in temperature. I'm sure that there are many people who can explain it better than I can, but it ends up being a maintenance problem. So even though we're not talking about just removing concrete roads and putting in full asphalt, to me, leaving the concrete road and using these tops materials is a benefit. Next slide. So this is my end. So in order to do your stone matrix or your brick, you need the old 8-inch curb, or you need a curb that's in good condition. Because then you can take an 8-inch curb and bring it down to 6. If I have a 6-inch curb and I put 3 inches of binder rich and 2 inches of top on it, you know, a total of 3, then I only have 3-inch curb reveal, which isn't good for drainage. In my opinion, the benefits outweigh the detriments by far if I have the ability to use these stone matrix or binder rich. But what you need is you really need an understanding from your administration or from the politicians of why there's a benefit. And I have been very lucky in that I have been able to have advocates on my side who are not engineers, who I explain this to, and then they explain it in non-engineering terms. Because you know, you've got that 15 seconds of elevator speech. And if you go beyond 15 seconds, that's it, you're done, okay? They don't want to know. But if you can tell them, hey, you're going to spend $500,000 more, but the road's going to last longer, and you're not going to have failure, that's almost all you need to say. So my next slide is just showing you what I hope to do in the near future. This is Kings Highway, and again, if something's called Kings Highway, that means it was started when there was a king in the United States, so it's pretty old. So what you see here is the concrete slabs in the middle and an asphalt shoulder on one side, the concrete slab on the other. So somewhere along the line, the center line of this road changed. This, we hope, will be our next stone matrix or binder rich intermediate course. And we're hoping to fund this using NJIB funds. Next slide. I know we answered some questions, but I'd be glad to take any.
Kevin, there was a couple of, one more from Bob Signora. Can you institute a utility opening moratorium by any chance 5 years or 7 years where they can't cut into your roadway?
So
And install
oh no,
something?
we had a 5-year moratorium and we changed it to a 7-year moratorium. So we are enforcing the 7-year moratorium. Now, that doesn't mean you can't open the road. What that means is you can open the road, but you must pave curb to curb and 100 feet in either direction from your opening. So we've been getting this. Now, South Jersey Gas, PSE&G is fighting, but South Jersey Gas on Evesham Road had a longitudinal trench, and they did the entire lane for quite a few miles. I would say 4. So the moratorium is there. The biggest problem I have is that the utility companies tell the homeowners that there's a moratorium and therefore they can't connect their house to gas. It is not true that it means they can't. It means they don't want to. Any other questions?
Kevin, this is Amanda. I just had one quick question. When you said that you have to have the plant shut down to I guess make the brick, can you explain that real quick?
My understanding from talking to the contractors is that if the plant is making regular asphalt, they shut it down and switch equipment, or probably switch the computer so that they make the special materials.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons why it costs so much. Now, I think one of the reasons why I could get a really good price on that first change order was because DOT was doing brick and the plant already had brick on in construction. You guys were doing night work. I don't remember where it was now, but that's one of the reasons why the price is higher.
There's another question. What type of repairs are required after the 7-year moratorium? Yep.
Okay, so the regular restoration for a composite road is that the concrete slabs have to be doweled in per DOT spec. And the minimum opening is 4.5 feet wide, so they can dowel in properly. And they either go from edge of slab to edge of slab, but they can't cut the slab so that there's only 2 feet of concrete remaining, because that you can't put 9 inches of dowel into an old concrete road and expect it to survive. The doweling of the concrete is expensive, and most of the contractors that I've been working with now, they started out by using hand tools, and they have now invested in the equipment that does the dowels all at one time, like big machine. The other thing is they now know that if they don't have a piece of equipment that is water cooled when they saw cut or dowel in, that I'm gonna stop the job. So I can tell you that I still get pushback from the utility companies on doweling in the concrete when it's going to be overlaid. And I will not bend. It has to be doweled in. Otherwise, what happens is that piece, whether it's 10 foot long by 4.5 feet or 10, it has to be doweled in. Otherwise, it floats on our soils.
Okay.
Okay, you got the next question.
Yeah. So there's one more question. If you have curb-to-curb concrete, are you opposed to removing 4 feet of the concrete on the edges to meet the existing curb with proposed brick, thus leaving the majority of the existing concrete?
Okay, so this is an interesting problem that I'm having, and I've worked out. I didn't show you pictures of this, but what I've been doing on some of my roads is, in order to get the curb reveal, you take out the piece of the shoulder and you put in a monolithic curb and gutter that gives you the curb reveal but doesn't change the top of curb. So you're not changing the sidewalk, the grass strip. And that 2 foot, or I have one job in Pennsauken now where it's 4 foot. What that does is you lift that one up, you lift that monolithic curb and gutter up so that you can leave the concrete slab and put asphalt on top of the concrete slab. Hold on. So the problem I'm having in one section of 561 is when they poured the old concrete, the mix wasn't good and the stones are popping out. So people are cutting their grass or their cars are getting hit. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna put in monolithic curb and gutter. Again, well, we're doing concrete, not asphalt. And then putting overlay and leaving the concrete road in the middle. So this question is, meet the existing curb with the proposed brick. So I could do that and take the brick all the way to the edge. But what I'm finding is that the contractors I have really like the control that the monolithic curb and gutter gives them, because then they set all those elevations and then they can pave based on the top of that gutter. And what they do is they put a 2x4, believe it or not, just a piece of wood up against that curb and gutter to protect it during construction so it doesn't chip. So I see Lane Rankin says, I have all the fun projects. Yeah, that's true. I have so much fun. I think my job is just awesome. Okay. And I really like doing new things, and I really like getting as much money as I possibly can, as possible, as you guys know.
Hey, Kevin, this is Mike Russo. Thank you for that. That was extremely thorough, very informative. And hearing from someone like you with your knowledge and your hands-on experience is really what this stick is all about and what this stick is intended to be. So thank you for your contribution today. That was a fantastic presentation.
Okay, everybody stay well.
Agreed. Thank you very much. And there's some other feedback in there that you might want to check out. Some really good feedback on your presentation. Thank you.
Right.
All right. So up next, we have Sue Catlett with an update on weather savvy roads. So welcome back, Sue.
Thanks. Kevin had her fun project, and this is our fun project. This is a one project that we really like and has proven to be very interesting. We were asked to come back and give you guys an update as to where we are with weather savvy. If we can advance. There we go. These are the topics that we're going to go into in the next set of slides we've got going on. Next. Okay, and this is a recap from before of what the pilot was. We had a grant for this. The grant was valued at $322,000 and change. I will tell you up front that we've spent more on it than that, but that was what the grant is. So moving on. This is a recap of why we were doing the project. The first one on the left is talking about RWIS, road weather information systems, whether you have a mobile or a fixed. And one of the things that we've talked to the drivers about when we've been putting equipment into their trucks is that, you know, hey, we're trying to look at this and see what kind of information we get, because we all know that the weather forecasters are so spot on with their forecasts. They're 100% accurate and everything else that, you know, what are we doing with them? So, and the fixed RWIS is kind of the same thing, that it's one point in time and you go a couple miles down the road from that fixed point and you've got a hill, a valley, you've got water nearby that's creating a different air temperature and a whole different condition. So, you know, the RWIS, the permanent RWIS is great information at that point, but as a driver gets away from it, from that location, the situation changes. And the next part is on the right side of the slide, where we're going to look at the Firstnet signal strength. And as a reminder about what Firstnet is when there are incidents on the highway or snowstorms or things like that, everybody in the vehicle is calling somebody saying, hey, I'm going to be late for dinner. You know, I don't know how to get out of here. Can you go find me another route? You know, all that stuff. Everybody's using their phones for stuff, and that makes it harder for us to communicate to our own first responders, to other first responders out there, as well as some of our own equipment. So one of the things that we wanted to do was check out what the signal strength was. We had previously done a test before, and it was on the interstate system, and this is the results that we got, and this was a couple years ago. So next slide. And this is where we currently are. We started off with fewer vehicles than what we have right now. We have 24 that are operational. You can see that we have a mix of plow trucks, supervisor pickups, IMERT vehicle. IMERT lingo is Incident Management Response Team. SSP is a Safety Service Patrol, and they have them in different areas. As you can see from the map, the colors that we have them in a number of places. And that the vehicles, some of the vehicles were selected because of the incline packages, and incline is really referring to Route 78 in Jugtown Mountain, Route 280 where there's a steep incline. So that's where these are. So the next slide. Okay, so the Weather Savvy project here is they have the slides showing you what the inside of the incident management truck is. You will see on the left the antenna on the top. On the right, you'll see the camera on the dash, and up below that, you'll see the monitor from the, well, really it's a tablet, and the keyboard for the tablet. So next. And this is basically the same vehicle, but now you can see where we've put the other equipment, the cellular router, and all the other wiring and stuff that goes along with it. And this happens to be an area that we're looking at to try and figure out how to lessen the footprint of this, because as you can see on the picture on the left, it's currently sitting, if it's a front and back row, this is sitting under the back row, and although that's not too bad for an SSP vehicle or an IMERT vehicle, the folks that are using the vehicle get in and get out a lot, you know, bad weather and whatnot. So we're trying to look at ways to reduce the footprint so that we can maybe protect it a little bit more with respect to dirt, dust, liquids, things like that. So if we go next. Okay, and this is another picture of the SSP vehicle. The bottom right is showing you the actual sensor up underneath. That is aimed backwards as the vehicle is traveling, and it is a kind of a flexible rubber case that it's in, but it's mounted up underneath of it, a little bit behind the cab, and not much more to tell about that. So next. And this is inside the plow truck. Basically the same setup as what you would have, what you saw on the IMERT truck, a pickup truck. The plow is basically the same thing. You've got the camera, you got the tablet, just two different views of it in the cab. We've found that the different manufacturers make plow trucks make it a little bit more interesting to do some of the installs in there. So that was something that we had fun with as we went on. And if we go next, and this is the plow truck on the outside. The left photo has the red box around the rubber sensor that you saw underneath of the SSP vehicle. This is in the front of the plow truck due to the way the configuration of the vehicle is. This is a better spot for us to try and squeeze it in. The picture on the right is the ambient sensor that we installed. When that comes from the manufacturer, comes as one unit, and what we do is we separate this, you know, white stick and put that away from the other part of it, because we want the rubber part to be closer to the road part, and the ambient temperature stick we want a little higher and away from some things. And so we place this on the most vehicles behind the cab itself to give it a little protection, but keep it you know, nearby. So next. Okay, this is our web interface. The 139 users may not be an accurate number. It may be a couple higher now. I know I've asked for logins for a couple more people, but the upper left is the actual entry page into the website. We have a defined group of users, and they set up their own passwords. The bottom left is that you can change the settings a little bit. You can change your password, things along that line. And on there we go, the bottom right is a map, and it shows on the left side of that, it shows the different vehicles out there and what vehicles are operational. Red is moving around, the engine's engaged, and red is, no, it's, I don't know if I said that right. Green is engaged and red is stopped, just what you would think with the traffic light. You know, easy things. We try and make a lot of this intuitive from your, you know, just general knowledge, not make things, oh, you have to learn a whole new language or a whole new code. In the center of that bottom right photo, you have a map, and the map shows you where the vehicle has been. I refer to it as chicken tracks, that you see where the vehicle has been, and it is color coded by the temperature of the road and everything. When you get to the right side, you see the image that the driver sees. And above it, it has information from the weather sensors. It gives you the air, the temperature, gives you the road temp, gives you humidity, dew point, all that stuff. And down below the image, you see, you know, other information such as water, ice, snow. There will be dials all the way across if we are in a major storm, or that you have water and snow and ice, all those wonderful things. Those are shown at the bottom there. So if we go to next. There we go. This is more of the same, just a little bit bigger, not a lot, but a little bit. And the video wall is something that was added partway through last year, where there were people that wanted to see, you know, more than one vehicle at a time. They wanted to be able to see what, you know, neighboring crews had. So that was what we did with that. And you can, on this image, you have 6 vehicles that are there, and they all have what the driver sees. The center image of that says vehicle dashboard, that is just blown up separately from the image above. It's basically showing you what the driver sees, and it really does give a different perspective to snows and finding out information. So if we go next. Again, this is the same, basically the same image you had from before in that bottom left on the previous slide, but it just is a little bit bigger that you can see and get a better feel for everything. And this is all the same storm. It was one of our early storms last year, and we were quite happy with the way Weather Savvy performed during that storm. Just really nice. So moving on. And this is our Firstnet information here. The Firstnet information is about how good is our signal strength. And when you look at it, it's not too bad. And this was from December of last year through February of this year. And it came out with a really good number for us, 98% of excellent or good signal strength. And that was a nice thing to see. And they're on the thing in the graph in the middle, or I'm sorry, not the graph, but the map in the middle shows you there are a couple points in there that we have a little bit of an issue with, but it's good to know where your positives are and where you have to watch out for some things. So if you go to the next. This is more of the same. It's showing you from the circles in the center are showing you 2 different time periods, and they're basically consistent as to the good strength and the places where we're not so good. And again, as I said, it's good to have an idea of where those things are, and we'll have to just see what we can do with that in the future. Just be aware of it. So next. I'm killing everybody with these slides. I know, sorry. These are fun for us, but this does show you the 2 spots that we have some issues with. The one is along Route 29 up in Hunterdon County. A little bit might be geographics and everything. So moving on. This is when we first started this last year. Everybody that looked at it kind of came away with positive feedback for us. As you can see on the 3rd bullet, somebody had mentioned that, you know, they wish they had this on every vehicle because it really gave them a different perspective of the storm. You know, pictures worth 1,000 words. Well, we're giving them millions of words every storm. So one of the things that we considered after, you know, partway through was, what are we going to do for more? What can we do to improve this? And so we've done some things in the course of the year of doing small additions, small changes. And if you go to the next slide. So some of the stuff that we have learned and modified as we went along, one of the things I hadn't mentioned before, but you can read at the bottom, is NJIT has been helping us with this. NJIT is the ITS Resource Center, and we just, through their work and looking at the data that we had coming back to us, they discovered something that was an issue. The data didn't make sense. It just wasn't right. So they ended up having conversations with the vendor, the Visela vendor, and they were like, this is interesting. So they said, look, can you swap them out and give us those sensors back? And so when we We swapped them out and gave them the sensors back, and that's where they found an issue with their manufacturing, that it didn't show up anywhere else. But because of the data that we had going back, and NJIT was actually examining the data as opposed to a lot of other places, you know, as it says here, some states and other countries were using it and were accepting the data coming back, that they ended up benefiting from our thoroughness here. The next thing was the tablet. We had installed the tablets in all of our original vehicles, and you know, as I'm in a garage waiting for this sensor to be installed on another vehicle, I got a phone call saying that there was a tablet stolen from one of our trucks, and I was like, what? How did this happen? Because they are locked in, but they ended up, you know, whoever took it broke the frame of the mounting unit to get to the tablet. And we ended up getting it back. It was found along the fence line a couple weeks later underneath some leaves, and we had lots of storms in between, you know, rainstorms, not snowstorms, but rainstorms. And some of them were pretty good deluges. And so when we got it back, we put it back into its docking station, and lo and behold, it actually worked. So the rugged design that was picked actually really did deliver. It was we withstood all of that, because it was out of the docking station for weeks. The lots of rain, you know, obviously not in good condition. When you find it under leaves, who knows what it really went through, you know, whether somebody took it away and did something and tried to bring it back or what have you. But as a result, we've now put tracking onto our tablets that we're installing, and to allow us to wipe the unit clean if we need to do that at a later date. This is not going through the Garden State Network, it's going through NJIT, but we still didn't want, some people may be using it for their work activities, and we didn't want any of that information to be compromised in any way. So we have that ability. So if you go next. Dashboard cameras. The dashboard camera is the one in the upper left, and sometimes we ended up seeing the image on the right. And while that's a very nice picture of the dashboard is inside the vehicle and didn't quite have the same effect as to what the road conditions were. And if you put the plow on the end of that truck, you really would just see the backside of the plow. So we've done a couple of things with this. One is that we've looked at putting into the tablet something that will allow the driver to click on and let them see what the image really is, because those bullet type cameras are ones that can get knocked around, can get accidentally hit, or some people do like to adjust it themselves, and this way they can see where it should be when they're all said and done. And another thing is a different type of camera, and you'll see that on the next page. And this is a dome camera, and the dome camera is one that doesn't get hit. Once it's fixed, it's fixed. So that should make it easy. You don't have to worry about people bumping into it, somebody knocking it with papers that are going in front of them, or, you know, just moving it. So this is something that we're putting in and testing it out this year. One of the interesting things about this is that this dome camera actually gives a better quality image for less money. So it's kind of one of those interesting little things, but we're still looking at it for other aspects of it. So if we go next. Okay, and these are some of the things that we were looking at. The cost per vehicle is about 15 grand. That is basically soup to nuts. One of the things that we've had issues with is not just the EAI vendor, but the Fhwa vendor. Our two vendors that were coordination is a challenge. You know, we're dealing with different vehicles from different areas of the state, finding a spot to use the garages to use for the installation of the weather sensor. But EAI is a vendor that we have to take the vehicle down a day before, drop it off, go back 2 days later to pick it up, because they need a whole day for installation. And for some reason, they prioritize state police over us. I just don't get this. But the state police are also doing the same type of, they have their own equipment similar to what this is in their vehicles, and they end up with a priority. So we've had some scheduling challenges in the past that we have tried to make it so we get a couple days in a row, so that if say North has to drop a truck off and they have 2 trucks, they can drop one off, and then as they're picking one up, they can drop the other one off. It's a lot of logistics going on with a lot of different people and a lot of different priorities going on. Interesting situation. The system's capability. I'm sure you guys have all been watching the screen too long. Just so you know, that second word is dedicated. It may not look that way to you, but it really is dedicated. We have to get a dedicated server for some of this just because of the mass information that we're using. One of the things we're finding challenged right now is a video management system. We're looking at that because before, when we had, say, maybe 10 people logging in and we had 12 vehicles, we had no problem with our video. Now we have a lot more people logging in to look at the vehicles. We're kind of a victim of our own success. Everybody wants to see what is happening on that road, and I know a way I can do that. I'm going to go and look at this. It is interesting to watch what's going on, but we may need to get into a video management system such as Genetec or something like Wink. Those are 2 systems that the department is somewhat familiar with, and we'll have to take a look at that. So those are aspects there. So if we go next. Hardware maintenance. One of the things that we've told drivers and kind of have to figure out a way to get this across a little bit better is the maintenance of the sensor. It's sitting, as you'd think, it's sitting up underneath the vehicle or in front of the plow. It's sitting up under the plow, the front bumper. That it's going to get a lot of snow, it's going to get a lot of dirt, it's going to get a lot of calcium, it's going to get a lot of stuff. I mean, after a snowstorm, what do people do? They run to the car wash and get their car washed. And that's what this needs. It needs to get a garden hose basically up underneath and to clear the lens, because it's optics being sent out to the road and back, and it needs to be cleaned. So we've said, look, if you need to take it through a car wash or a truck wash, fine, go right ahead, do that. But don't get your undercarriage, that special treatment. Don't do that, because that's going to leave a film on your lens. That's going to be a problem. Camera maintenance. Again, we've talked about how to get the image just right, and the cellular router and communication with monitoring and the maintenance. So that's concerns that we have. And then the driver awareness is educating the driver more about weather savvy. When we did this originally, we basically said, look, we're just putting this in your vehicle. You don't need to know, you don't need to do anything to it. We don't want you doing anything to it. We want you concentrating on your job. But as we go along, people want to find out what is this thing that's next to me in the vehicle? What are we doing? When we first installed it, we said, look, the camera is pointing forward, and there's no audio, so you could be trying out for America's Got Talent, and we'll never know. So and we won't be able to judge you on it either, whether you're good or bad. So just know that. And they're like, okay, all right. And the other thing is how to troubleshoot. One of the things is about the cameras going off, about the sensor not working, or doing a calibration on the equipment. Those are all things that we're slowly getting into. We've had 1 year of it. We're on the 2nd year, and we're trying to, get all these things going. So if we go next. There we go. These are some things that we have talked about internally. And some of them we're trying to move forward on, and some of them we're just not quite ready for. But one example is, like, if you had a plow train going forward, that you have like signal priority for the plow train, so the plow wouldn't have to stop, leave that line of snow on the road or the salt on the road, and then move forward, because you can tell when the trucks stop that all the stuff is there. So that's one of the things that we're looking at. We're looking at seeing if we can get some information about the spreader, just to analyze work effort and everything. So these are some of the things that we're looking at in the future. Okay. And
All right. So that's it for you, Sue?
that's it, except I must have missed it when I was looking, but there was supposed to have been a slide saying that we, one of the things that topped off this conversation again was the, in the annual meeting for ITS New Jersey, Weather Savvy won the award for the statewide regional agency for outstanding ITS project of the year. And we had a number of partners on it. Our partners included EAI, who did the inside the cab work. We had Vasala, who was our sensor, NJIT for all of the stuff that we had done with them and their evaluation and helping us, as well as our federal partners. You know, AIC, Helene, and Sutapa all have been helpful in moving this forward and hearing what we're doing and everything. So we thank them also. So thank you. And now I'm done.
Great.
Sue, I had some questions, but I'm pretty sure you
No.
answered them during the presentation. I asked them very early, and I think you gave me the answers. And I just
Okay.
want to say that I think that that you've had a feedback cycle and you've been able to incorporate some of the recommendations, and that the recommendations were positive, like that the people liked it and wanted
Yeah.
to see more of it. I thought was really kind of exciting. And yeah, my comment was, oh, sorry, my dog's here. My comment was, it looks like ongoing like maintenance and upkeep of the sensors and the equipment could be definitely like an issue that you know, whoever puts this on their vehicles might just want to be like aware of. I think it's the future. I think it's coming. I think it's definitely going to happen. It looks like it could be just a little bit of a hassle maintaining it.
It's something that we're working on. We're you know, that's why we wanted a longer time period to do evaluations. You know, the first year, you know, you may be fortunate and everything goes right, but then the second year is like, oh man, what's happening? We had some issues the first year, managed to work through them, and you know, as you look at it, the problems or the issues you've run across will make the product better, will make the project better, will make the information better to everybody and more useful. So yeah, it's not a fun thing right now, but yeah, finding out how to make some of those things better. That's our goal.
Well, congratulations. There's another message in here from Sal. Congratulations to Chief Catlett, Ridwan Ahmed, and the entire mobility and operations team who worked on this federal grant-funded initiative to enhance DOT's capability to see what's happening, and the winner of the 2021 ITS New Jersey Project of the Year Award. So yeah, congratulations on that. And you know, you weren't killing me with these slides. I think, like you said, you know, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And, you know, this was the first time that we really got an in-depth look at what the drivers are seeing and what, you know, the back end. So, you know, for me, it helps me understand the full picture. So I really appreciate the time that, you know, you took to put together this presentation for us.
Also, Sal, thanks to you, because you were extremely persistent with getting this application in. And I know it took a long time. The A demo projects sort of go in a clump, and it's a sort of political thing. So you were very patient with the approval process, which took, like, if I recall, more than a year. So thanks to you and your persistence, you could have given up, but you didn't give up. So thank you.
One of the nice things about this project is it's not just winter. I mean, everybody thinks of it as winter, but you actually have used it, you know, all year round for different things. You used it during the hurricanes, the tornadoes, all that stuff. Those things get used for that. We've used it for incidents to see how you know, how a road is shut down because of a tanker. And, you know, again, picture worth 1,000 words. You know, a guy out in the field is saying, hey, I can't do this. I can't do X because this truck is taking up too much of a lane. I can't get it back open. And we don't have a traffic camera in that area, but this guy has his iMert truck and turns his camera on, and wow, oh, now I get what you're talking about. Okay, I can see why you're having that problem. Let me call in some more resources for you. So it has many benefits, not just winter weather.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so now I'd like to share with you an exciting announcement about our 2021 Build a Better Mousetrap competition. We had 2 winners this year, 1 local winner and 1 agency winner. And we presented the awards in October during our NJDOT annual research showcase. And subsequently, we produced a nice video that not only announces that the 2022 competition is now open, with a new due date of May instead of August. But the video features details and interviews of the winners that we had this year. And I just want to mention that our subcontractor, Civic Guy, does a really nice job for us, and this is just one more example of their quality work. So please keep the Bureau of Research in mind if you have anything innovative that you'd like us to feature. And I'm not just talking about NJDOT, I'm talking about any of the locals. You know, because as you will see in a couple minutes, we had a local winner. So if there's anything that you'd like us to feature, please let us know. You know, we have the funding, the contract mechanism, and the expertise. So please keep us in mind. All right, so next, I'm going to play the video.
Hey, Amanda, can you hit the share audio? I think on that 3 dots, there should be a way for you to share the audio.
It's not coming up.
I don't hear him unless it's a just me thing, but I think if you hit those 3 dots, there's a way for you to
I'm going to stop real quick.
share your audio. Turn on
So I
live.
did that at the beginning of the meeting. I need to minimize some screens. I hang on a second. Let me go back to my Teams thing. All right, I'm going to hit share, and then I'm going to select include computer sound.
Okay.
Which I did earlier, and I'm going to share it again and see if that works. If this doesn't work, I'm not sure why my settings are not working. But I can.
You can always, if you have to, if it just doesn't work, you can always just link us to the
That's
video.
what I'll have to end up doing. The last time I tried this, the same thing happened. I thought I found the solution, but let me try this one more time. If I didn't, the link is down at the bottom of the screen, but I'll also put it in the chat for you all to go look. It's a really good video. I really encourage you all to go look at it if this doesn't work. But let me know if it doesn't. Let me go back here. So you're all seeing this, right?
We can see it, yeah. We just,
or your crew.
we can hear him now.
There you go.
Maybe you've built a better mousetrap. We are looking for innovative ideas that you have successfully implemented and that have increased safety, reduced cost, improved efficiency, or enhanced the quality of transportation. Whether it is a newly designed tool, a modified piece of equipment, or a change in process, we want to recognize your efforts and share this innovation with others. The New Jersey Build a Better Mousetrap competition provides a great opportunity to share those ingenious solutions. We are looking for submissions from employees of the New Jersey municipalities, counties, park commissions, New Jersey Department of Transportation, and New Jersey Transit.
Your innovative ideas can improve the way transportation agencies do business. Entries are judged using the criteria of cost savings, benefits to the community or agency, ingenuity, transferability to others, and effectiveness. We encourage you to enter your innovation into the New Jersey competition.
Your idea might improve maintenance tools, equipment fabrication, or ways of performing maintenance. Your idea might improve the use of transportation facilities, such as improved storage or services, how you do inspections or data collection, or manage your assets to make or prioritize decisions. Some examples of award winners from the national competition in recent years have been a guardrail reclaimer, a survey pin puller, and asphalt patch trailer improvements. The Better Mousetrap competition is all about recognizing and rewarding innovations, great and small. It all begins with your creative ideas. But remember, submissions in this competition must reflect examples of implemented products, procedures, or processes, and award winners must have advanced their ideas to implementation.
My name is Art Villano, I'm the Superintendent of Public Works from Montgomery Township. The project that we came up with was a inlet repair trailer. So we were looking at a way to streamline, to be more efficient on our inlet repairs. And we had an older trailer that was sitting, not doing too much, so we rehabbed it to install a generator and a cement mixer and be able to keep pallets of concrete and lumber and all the tools we need for the day. We used to go out with 2 or 3 trucks or have to go out and do some work and then come back and get a different unit, you know, whether we needed a backhoe to lift up the grates. Now we have a crane mounted on the trailer. It's kind of a one-stop shop. Once they're out there, they're out there. There's no need to run back and forth. They're never short anything because everything's been preloaded on the truck on the trailer for months. The trailer is set up and ready to go. If we're switching to a different crew, the next crew that's taking that unit has everything on it. They don't have to think about what they need. It's all right there. So there's no wasted time of coming back for material or tools or supplies, whatever. There's a benefit of safety because you're not working out of trucks where you're lifting stuff above your waist or above your shoulders. You're always on the trailer deck or on the shoulder. So there's no need to be in the road, so there's no chance of anybody getting hurt.
My name is Mark Franco. I'm a technical specialist with New Jersey Transit, bus material and technical support, and I invented the tire center line bracket. When the president of the snow chain company came down to show us how to install these units, he was using a plumb line on the inside of the wheel. We were all getting different measurements, and it wasn't very consistent. So I thought to myself, what are we trying to find? We're trying to find 6 o'clock on the wheel, because that is the proper spot for the unit to contact the inside of the tire. So I invented this bracket in order to find 6 o'clock on the inside of the wheel, which in turn will allow us to mark 6 o'clock on the inside of the tire. The bracket is basically a mild piece of steel bent at opposing 90-degree angles. You just set it on the inside of the wheel with the digital level attached, and when you get to 0, you've found 6 o'clock on that tire. The way this increases efficiency is it keeps all our measurements consistent amongst all of our garages from North to South Jersey. Everybody will be taking the same measurements and able to get these units working properly and safely. It takes less time to find the right measurements. And as we all know, time is money. So as our mechanics are working on these, they're not taking extra time to try to find the right measurements. When I found out I won this award, it was honestly disbelief at first. And after reading the email 3 times, I was extremely happy and honored to be able to bring New Jersey Transit our first Build a Better Mousetrap Award.
Maybe you can be next year's winner. If you have something you think would qualify for this competition, share those ingenious solutions. 2 winners will be selected, one for the best local agency submission and another for the state agency submission. For more information, go to the website or email us at the address shown on the screen.
All right, so real quick, some quick reminders and announcements for everyone before we adjourn. We encourage everyone to visit our NJDOT Tech Transfer website, as well as our NJ STIC website. And just a reminder that all meeting recordings and presentations and the summary are always posted on this link that you see here on the screen. So if you missed anything, or if you feel as though, you know, one of your colleagues would benefit from watching the presentations that we've had today, please send them, you know, to these links. And that is it for me and our presentations today. And I just want to thank you all so much for your participation in today's meeting and for bearing with us with our technology issues, which we're probably all used to by now. And we appreciate your support for New Jersey STIC, and we look forward to continued collaboration with you in the future. I'm starting to program the dates for 2022 meetings. Our executive team has probably already got the links for 2022's meetings, and they will be forwarded to the rest of the council very shortly. And I'm also putting the planning meetings on the schedule soon as well. So, Mike, if you would, do you have any last words for us before we?
Yeah, thank you. So we're winding down another year, right? And these STIC council meetings, Amanda, Helene, you outdo yourself every time. Because of the contributions of everyone on this call today and participation and support, quite frankly, I think we have in New Jersey what is probably the best STIC in the nation. And that's because of all of you. I just want to quickly go through and acknowledge and thank a number of people, Amanda and Helene, of course. Amanda, you've got a lot of staff that do work behind the scenes also that makes this happen. Some folks we see every meeting, others we don't see so much. So I want to thank Diane Thompson, Pragna Shah, and Giri Venkatila on your staff for their contributions. Helene, as always, the support of you and Robert and Valeria over at Federal Highway. I can't say enough about that. Our CIA team leaders and all the innovation champions that are involved in this effort. DOT senior leadership, Andrew Tenard, Snell Patel are on, I believe, almost every meeting, and many of their staff members contribute to this on a regular basis. I'd also like to acknowledge, what Rutgers does for us, Janet Leely, David Amon over at Rutgers, and more importantly, each of you, right? We saw two fantastic presentations today from Kevin Bessia down in Camden County, from Sue Catlett. Your participation and support is what makes this STIC best. So I just want to thank everybody, wish you all happy holidays. Please stay safe. Please try to stay healthy, and we'll see everyone next year. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Be safe.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Thanks. Happy holidays, everybody.
Bye.
Same to you. Happy holidays.
Thanks.